Hello there, this is Charlie Barley I don't even know my stage name. This is Charlie Barley with another cool video. This video, I'm going to be talking about why you're losing and how to actually track your results, how to really look at the game, and how to look at the game as a game. Okay, I'm going to say it again. How to look at the game for what it is. And then once I do that, I'm going to show you how to analyze your own game using Microsoft Excel. Shout out to Microsoft Excel. Because the deal of it is that to really enjoy and really make money doing this, you've got to understand what it is. Okay? Number one, it is a game. GAME. The reason I got this tennis matchup is because I want to show you what a game looks like. All right, so I'm a really huge tennis fan, and I started playing tennis. It's a really when I started to work out, like in my late 20s. Never really was a fan until I started appreciating the art of the going back and forth. All right, but these guys make these is I think this is Federer. These guys make and Nadal. They make a lot of money. But watch the game. Watch this. I mean, not even look at the score. This is the score is one thing, but look at the game. Just look at this. So that was a permutation that went once, two, three, four, five, six, seven. Okay, here is my point. These guys make a lot of money playing this game. And in this game, you can see that there wasn't a consistent win on either side. Okay? In fact, I counted 7 volleys back and forth before someone scored a point. My point in bringing this up is the biggest reason a lot of people are failing at the game is because for some reason you've allowed the industry to make you view this something that it's not. It is not gambling. It's only gambling when you make stupid, dumb decisions with your money that are uneducated and ungrounded by anything. I'm going to show you what I mean in just a second, so please stay on this video. I'm going to show you how to dissect your game, how to become a better coach at your own game. No matter what the strategy is, whether you're using my strategy, someone else's strategy, you should understand your game. If the only thing you have is a strategy, particularly a single strategy, I swear that you're going to eventually lose. You're going to lose fast and in a hurry, much quickly. I have people who email me all the time. Listen, at this point, I think you guys pretty much know. I've got almost 2,000 subscribers. I've got hundreds of folk who are using permutations who email me all the time. Okay? These people are making money. But the biggest consistent thing people do with their game is that they use the same play strategy over and over. Imagine if this guy only had one backswing. What if this was the only way he could backswing was that it looked that way, or he couldn't go to the right? He only had one particular play. How long do you think he's going to last in this game? He's not going to last long. Okay? But imagine him going into the game expecting for every ball he hit, he were to score. Imagine that. Imagine him going into the game thinking that there wasn't a chance of him losing a match. There wasn't a chance of him losing a match. How long would he last? But the reason why he lasts as long as he does is because he knows it's not about the match. It's about the game. It's about him dominating the game. And we're going to talk about that. I'm going to show you how to analyze and dominate the game. But here's another thing I want to show you. I was looking at, of course, I'm a football fan, and I was looking at all the scores. and I was noticing all the close scores, and I noticed all the blowouts. You got 29-17, 0 to 5. Really wasn't a big score, wasn't big wins. But then you had some people like this, I think it was 51 to 34, 42-28, 0 to 17. Then here's another close one. My whole point is that all these games are different. Sometimes you're not going to win big games. And by the way, folks, I got some J Big in the background who's playing and rocking out for me this morning. I actually recorded this video like yesterday and forgot that my microphone was on mute. So I did a recording and I said, screw it. I just do it in the morning. So anyway, and by the way, this is for my mentor classes as well. So this is just not for everyone, but my mentees will be watching this. So anyway, so you're not going to win. Some games will be close. A lot of games you'll have blowouts. Some games you may lose. For example, I look at it this way: you may have a game. A game to me is 100 spins. That's a game. Okay, if I do 100 spins, I've played a game. Okay, people think a game is one spin. No, it's almost like saying I'm gonna play tennis and I'm gonna hit one ball and that's the game. How dumb is that? You're not playing. It's not even a game at that point. So, but people literally, I lie to you not, folks, people play this way. People go to the casino and they play like that. They play as if they were tennis players. They're only going to go hit one ball over the net. And if it doesn't land, then they're over. Or they're going to do two shots. And if it doesn't land, they're over. But what's more important, they don't even know how to swing. They don't know how to play the game. And then they lose, or they don't get proper instructions, or they only have one type of hit they could even hit, one type of strategy, one type of play. They don't understand the nuances of the defense. They don't even know how to analyze their own game. But look at this. The scores are different. The key is into beating and dominating is having a lot of information, understanding and dissecting the game. Here's something else I want to show you. This guy right here, this is, I was looking, of course, I told you guys I'm a football fan. So I'm always looking at stuff, but I'm always looking at it much differently than the average person. I want to bring your direction to something. All right, let me go back here. Let's pause this. Look at this guy. Right now, he has on a headset because he's communicating with some analytics. He's communicating with people who are looking at different nuances of the game because there's a lot of money on the line. And because there's so much money on the line, they've got to be aware of all the differences and all the variables of the game. They have to be aware and they have to constantly communicate it to the coach, the guy that's calling the shots. That's you. You are the coach of your game. You see this book, this pamphlet, it's all kind of plays on it. Why? Because the game changes. And when the game changes, different players go out. You have what is called risk, the risk of losing. How do you mitigate risk? You got to study the variables. Number one, you've got to understand your own strategy. And you've got to marry your own strategy against the variables of the game, the same way a coach is doing. That's the only reason he has this play chart. It's the only reason he has his headphones on, because he can't keep up with it by himself. It's too many variables that are happening too fast. So he has to have a number of different coaches in order to make that $1 million paycheck. Well, in the game of roulette, guess what, folk? You don't have this many variables. Listen, look at all the players. Look at what's going on in their minds. This is all risk. Is he going to make the right play call? This guy's really serious, isn't he? But is he going to make the right play call? You know what I'm saying? So it's like, these are all things you got to consider when you're thinking about your game. So let's talk about your game, and let's talk about how we can analyze and really start looking at how you can best analyze your game. The best way to do it is to analyze it like the stock market. I'm gonna show you how. Let me get another clean sheet here. All right, we're gonna analyze this like the stock market. What you should do if you have Microsoft Excel, pull it out because I'm gonna show you how I use Excel to create what I call a market index. The market for me is the game itself, okay? And the game itself goes red and black. It goes from different numbers up to 36. And of course, you have the house edge, which is 0 or double zero. But when you add all of these variables together, right, these variables form what we call patterns. The patterns are limited. How do we know the patterns are limited? We know the patterns are limited because red is only been recorded 27 times straight. Why is that significant? The reason that's significant is because it didn't go 1,000 straight. It didn't go 10,000 straight. It went 27. And the reason why it's significant is because that is a limitation right there. That's a red flag that the game only produces a certain amount of frequential patterns. Red flag, instant red flag. And I'm not a math guy, but no one can debate that. You can't debate it. I mean, you can, but it's you're just going to be going into what I call a syntax, around and around. Okay, so this is a limitation within the game. Okay, so when you're actually playing the game, are you basing your strategy upon the game's limitation, and are you playing according to that limitation? And do you know the limitations to the point where you can break it down into a flat bet? That's where I'm at in the mentorship program because I've broken the game down to the point of its own limitations. So let's go. I'm going to try and pull up, let's go live roulette.ie. Let's hit this flash. It does a pretty, and by the way, I do a lot of my testing here because it's, as soon as it comes up, it's pretty, I mean, it's live. And there's generally a wheel that's spinning in here. For some reason, it's not working. It's not showing anything. Okay, so the video feed, I'm guessing it's not up right now. But nonetheless, my whole point here is just to show you these are the variables. You know, if you go back to, I don't want to see this fat guy. All right, so if you go back here into this game, all the variables that he's about to make a new play call. And in this case, the last bets, we're going to be making a new play call based upon the set of variables that are already being played. And this is what he's doing. The difference is that his variables are beyond this sheet, actually. He's going into what he thinks is the best move, but not the best calculated move. In this case, we have a very limited system here. But what happens is when you're playing, you don't understand your own index, your market index, where you're going wrong, and exactly the exact location of your play that's actually going wrong. So let me show you how I use Microsoft Excel to start breaking some of this down. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to pick a column. I'm going to call this spin. I'm going to call this spin result. And I'm going to call this, we'll say this is the spin, spins 1, 2, 3, actually 3. Then I'm going to drag this down like this, not that far. That's 100, and let's just go to 100 spins. It's really not 100, but you get the point. All right, so the spin result will be whether this is going to be black or, stop it. Just got a new mouse and it's really hard. So this will be the spin number 1, the result of it. So depends on what you're looking at. If you're looking at numbers, colors, or columns, that's what you'd put here. So let's just make this really easy on ourselves. I'm going to Let's see, I'm gonna drag something from another thing I was doing. I was working on something. I'm gonna pull some black and red. All right, so this is going to, I'm just gonna copy and paste. So this is already here. Give me 1 second, folks. Actually, we should do automatic. And this should be no fill. All right, so we already have black and red here. Okay, already have that. So let's assume that this has already been played, right? Okay. Um, the way to start looking at your play, how you're playing, or how to measure your results. There was a guy who had a question in one of my videos. He had asked, how do you manage, if you're playing permutations, how do you manage losses? Okay, so I'm about to give you guys some really good stuff here. But it's going to be up to you to study and practice it. You know, when you're playing football, baseball, or anything like that, if you're actually playing more than you're practicing, you're probably not learning much. If the only thing you know is a strategy and you don't understand the nuances and the nature of the game, and you can't shift or know what to shift and how to shift, you're wasting time. You're really wasting time. So it wouldn't even make a difference for you to join like a mentorship program of mine, because it's a lot is more even more steeped in theory, but it's certainly the holy grail to flat betting on a red and black. That's because of the breakdown that I give you in it. But don't think for a moment that we're not going to get steeped in theory. You need to understand this because you need your confidence. And if you should make a progression, you need to know that you should have confidence in it because you understand the variables. All right. So this is spin. This is going to be your result. So we'll say your spin. Okay. All right. So let's say that you played, this was what you did. Can't say what you did. So you did black, red. You're just playing random. Okay. You just random playing. I'm just randomly playing. This is, so it's spin 13. You didn't know what you were doing. You're just randomly playing. And, you know, you just random. Just don't know what you're doing. And whatever, or maybe you know what you're doing, but the results of what you're doing looks like this, right? Okay, so by the time at 39, this is what it looks like, okay? All right, so what you do is to track it, what you can do is you can say, you can do something like, let's do this. You can come here, you can go red, 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 black, black, red, black, red, black, black, red, red. All right, so you see that pattern. You can mimic this and put it here. So the first spin starting from the bottom, if you start in there, will be red, red. So you can do red, 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 come back, black, black, and then red, black, black, red, 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 black, black, red, red. All right. And then thereafter, all the spins that come up after that, you just notate what it was, okay? Whatever it is, all right? So I'm just going to make this quicker for us, so I can just go ahead and teach it. All right, so whatever that is. And then, of course, whatever you're going to bet, you put that there. Now, what you do after you've done that, you give this a value. So let's say $10 was what we're going to win on average. We're going to enter a code so we can make this much quicker for us. So I'm going to do a code that says if, and we put a bracket, this equals this, comma, then if it equals that, then we're going to give it a W, which for win. If not, comma, that's what comma means, we're going to give it a loss. L, bracket, close it. Okay, so apparently you can see here that it was not matching, so it gave it an L. And I'm almost finished here, so just bear with me. This is going to help you, believe me. All right, sound like Donald Trump. Believe me. All right, let's do, let's just, I don't know, let's just be random. I'm going to close my eyes and do this. That way I'm literally closing my eyes or I'm looking away. And that's, you see why I'm still getting that error message. Okay, let me. I don't know why that comes up like that. I'm sure one of you geeks know. All right, I think we get the point. All right, so let's just close this and this. We'll win that one. All right, so what I've done is just taken this. I've dragged and clicked it so that that formula can be extended throughout the entire thing. And what's cool is that if you extend the formula further, if you're playing this live, then it will update live. Okay, it will continue to update live. Here's what I mean when I say update. The next thing we're going to do is put in the money that you would have won and money that you would have lost. So we're going to put in another code. So this is going to be, well, it's going to be an if statement. So if logical test, if this equals L, then minus 50, or say minus 10, else minus or else 10. So what that's saying is if we lose $10. If we win, we make 10. It's pretty much that simple. All right. Okay, and there you see it's negative 10. So what I'm going to do now is make this $1. All right, so now we see the value there, and we're going to cascade this all the way down. So now you can see where it's showing where it's winning, it's 10. So now the next thing I want to do is look at this from a perspective of an index, okay? And this is going to show you, I mean, you can kind of see it looking here. You can see where you're losing at. But what I'm going to show you is how to look at this, okay? And it's going to help your play tremendously. And don't say I never gave you anything. This is really, what in the devil is going on? Okay, I'm trying to put my chart here. Why is it not doing it? Let's try this again. I'm trying to put my chart. So basically you come here, you click on insert, click on this waterfall chart. Why in the heck? Okay, I don't know what that was all about. All right, so let's enlarge this chart. Not that big. So we can size the chart any way we want, but I want you to just get a feel. I'm not exactly sure why this is moving so slow. Normally, I have a pretty good computer. It's moving really, really slow. Oh, maybe because of all these other ones that got stuck here. I just delete these. All right, so let's pull this here. Now, here is most of you guys' problem. As you can see, this was done, of course, it was a upward spiral, which is a good thing. The only bad thing is that it was done on something that was just so completely random. Playing completely random like this, the same way it goes up, it will go down the other way. But the thing is that it going down, you don't know how to bring it up, which means you can continue to go down. So that's where you need to have a strategy. But here is my point here, is that most people don't have a system, have a goal. And then in their goal, they don't have the patience. So what I've done here, I'm looking, if this was my strategy and it was consistent, What I want to do is run the way I'm playing. Whatever your strategy is, if this is a number, um, whatever the value that your of your win versus your losses would go here. So in the formula, as we seen here, it'd be what negative whatever the negative would be, the loss, and then whatever the what you'd win would be here. So you could do the same thing with numbers. But what my point is when you look at this from a perspective of looking at the index, looking at the consistency of the up versus the down, and then looking at where when you go down in your theory, where is it going down? Okay, so let's talk about some of the things that I was telling um, one of my other students about how to start measuring your own results, looking at it from a perspective of an index. Okay, knowing what your apex is. This is something I actually teach in my mentorship program, by the way. Knowing what your apex is, hitting your apex, and then leaving the game. See, the thing about this game is that it doesn't have four quarters. If you're up, you can just quit. Okay. The only problem is that when you hit indexes that look like this, when you do, let's see, when you have indexes that look like this, all right, and what do you do? Let's see, what do you do then? When you start to see them look this way. See, this is a reality, okay? So when you see this and you're doing your studies, you're looking at it from a perspective of, man, I just lost $60. Screw the 60. How did you lose it? Where in your play, this was the result of your play, where in your play are you not studying what's happening within the game? Because this is nothing but a permutation, okay? This is nothing but a permutation. So whatever in your play that you're not making wins consistently, where are you making losses consistently? And how does that, what it within your strategy that you know that's variable based, that can be calculated, that allows you to make better choices instead of consistent losses like this, in which you go down, you know? Because trust me, well, you guys know this, it's a 50-50 shot, which means there's a 50-50 chance that you're going to go down every time. And that's no good. 50-50, if you're losing 50-50, if you're at a 50-50 loss ratio, you're losing a lot of money. Okay? Because you're not going to break even. Meaning if you're of your games. So if you have, say, 10 games and you lost 50% of them, you are out of money. So you can't lose 50% of your games. You can't afford to have games like this. Okay? Even if you had good games where you actually saw an increase. Let's just go here real quick. I hate that error message. Does it way too much. Even if you had games where it looked like this and you say, man, I made $200 today. What happens in the games where it looks like this? You know, let's go. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me do that the right way. At least I don't know what's going on with my computer, folks. I don't know what the problem is. Anyway, let's see what that looks like. There we go. What happens in games that look like this if you have spirals like that? How do you overcome that? How do you overcome that? Like, how do you get rid of that? How do you stop this? How do you stop that? Do you quit? Because I can tell you, if you're playing in a game of tennis or in a game of football or baseball or soccer, and this is happening, your coach is calling time out, which what he's going to do in timeout, he's going to walk away from the game. Okay? And then he's going to come back to the game with a better strategy. But hopefully There are people in his corner, i.e., mentorship, that can help you analyze what you're doing according to variables, not some strategy. Everybody has a strategy. I could tell you to do this. Just do black, red, black, red, black, red, just do that. And then, I could tell you to do that. But this game changes so much. By the way, this is a really unique way of looking at it. Even though this is making patterns, this is still ran on a linear line. I had a person who had asked me, in permutations, in 7 cycles of permutations or 7 spins of a permutation in black and red, it's 120 different combinations that it creates, which means I have a 1 in 120 chance of winning or losing. I said, right. He says, well, why is it that I actually come up against the permutation even on a live wheel? Here is why. The game is still going on whether you're playing or not. Okay, so you can't look at the game from a perspective of it became a fresh game because you sat down. No, this analytics of the game is still going on right now, even though you're listening to me. Whenever you go back to that game, the analytics of the game or permutations have been going on before you sat down and they're going to go on after you leave. So by the time you come to that game, guess what? It might just be very near it time for it to hit that permutation cycle of 7. That's the reason why. And that's the reason why you do not play a single strategy over and over and over and over again. It's just like in football. Imagine if imagine if these guys had the same freaking defense strategy, offense strategy. There would be no reason for this. They'd get trucked. They'd get had. They'd get whooped. So that's the reason why you don't play it, because this line, this variable line, this is infinity. The spin cycle is infinity, but the permutations are not infinity. However, to overcome that, that's the reason you play multiple strategies. It's because you don't know where this line is according to the permutation cycle. So that's the reason why you have to create more chaos within it. But if you don't look at the game from a perspective of indexing or looking at where you are in this cycle or where your strategy is, take this strategy. What you do is, whatever strategy you have, practice it this way, looking at a variable line, and see if your strategy is, if this yield curve is consistently going up. If it's consistently going down, or if it's going down in areas in which you can't control progressively, then you know you have a flawed strategy, or you know you have a single play strategy that you're using way too much. Okay? So anyway, guys, I'm not going to continue to belabor the point. It's a game, but you have to learn how to analyze the game. You have to know your strategy and the analytics of your said strategy. If you don't, then you're playing blind. And there's no reason for you to waste money. There's just no reason for it. Okay? If you're going to lose money in this or in the market, at least let it be educational. At least let it be from a perspective that you made the wisest choice based upon the variables that you've got. Okay? All right, so I'm out with that. And so there are going to be more videos that I'm coming out for all my mentors. If you're looking at this, this is a part of your set. There's other strategies, or excuse me, other videos that you're going to be getting, talking about indexing, talking about advantages, the apex, and game sets. One thing I will tell you, Joe Public here, is that you can start looking at games as a game as a set of 100 spins, or you can say a game of a set of 80 spins. Okay, but don't never look at a game as 2 or 3 spins or 10 spins. That's not a game. Not in a game that behaves every 30 seconds. Every 30 seconds there's an activity, and you think 10 spins is no, it's not a game. That's 10 spins. So you got to look at it from a perspective of time too. Okay, this is really a you can't approach it like you've always approached it. You can't continue to listen to the industry tell you What's impossible, that's their job, is to continue to, well, one spin doesn't have any effect over the previous spin. It doesn't. You're right. On a linear line, you're right. That's one perspective. But on a permutative line, absolutely it does. Because there's a reason why Red only went 27 times as a record. So stop listening to the industry, people. Okay? Think about what you're doing. Have it make sense. If you have a business, hopefully you're analyzing your business like this. If you have relationships, I know you're going to hate, people going to hate this, but hopefully you're analyzing your relationships like this. You got to see where it's failing. You got to look at, okay, we're missing the mark here. What is it about our strategies that's causing us to miss the mark? And why are we not making money? Could we have made progressions and won more? And what is it about our strategy that limits our progressions? Are you asking these questions? What is it about my strategies? And how can you get more for it? How can you learn more? How can you grow into this? If you don't know how to think about it. Most people don't know how to pick strategies because they don't know what to look for. People are looking for a formula just to simply win. No, you can't work at it that way. I'm going to tell you why. These guys, you don't get to the pros by just having a good strategy. You got to study the game. You got to study the ins and outs, the nuances in every single variable, because you know that the game changes. There are players coming in and out. Yes, there are rules, but within the confine of the rules are variables that extend beyond this sheet. And the reason he's getting paid the millions of dollars is because he understands that point. If it was just simple of calling play number 3, I'm gonna call 3, I'm gonna call 2, I'm gonna call 1 here. That's all I'm gonna do, and I'm gonna sit here and drink coffee, and I'm gonna make $1 million. Nothing in the world works that way. There's not even a singular game that works that way. I mean, a lot of people are in la la land. Get your head out of the sand. I mean, the real world, you do not. They're not even on the stock market does it work that way. So I don't know why people think they. I guess because the liquor and maybe all the lights. Maybe you think it's inviting. Maybe you think it's supposed to be something you shouldn't have to think about. But you're gonna have to think about this stuff. Anyway, folks, I have so went over my time. Hopefully it was educational. Hopefully you learned something. I have more videos coming. I do have the mentorship program, and we are still taking people applicants, I'd say. Um, and yes, it is an amazing program of which you can learn how to flat bet red and black. Yes, you can actually flat bet. I'm actually going to have a video that's showing you guys what flat betting in red and black looks like. That's a real deal. That's something that happens. Okay. And you can do that, but you have got to study the game. Where, for example, and I'm done with this. So columns, for example, they create a different permutation because within each column are 12 different variables of which they can repeat. Red and black is 36, of which there's 18 apiece. They create different patterns. So you can't calculate them and play them the same. Okay? So that's a lot of stuff you got to really start to conquer. That's stuff that I can help you with. If not, continue to watch the videos. If you got any of the strategies that I have right now, play them multiple strategies at a time until you start to look at areas that you can make areas of attack. Okay? If your strategy, whatever strategy you have, if you're looking and you're always seeing a negative progression, you need to rethink your strategy. Use this example to start studying what your strategy looks like. Because you can see this index. Man, this sucks. I got to rethink what I'm doing. Okay? Into the next time, folks. Take care. I'll see you again.